Hello humanoids, welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and today we are going to be talking about dream quests, which is something a lot of you said that you were actually interested in, and something that I have been mildly obsessed with ever since I mentioned it. So today I'm going to tell you why you should be running dream quests, how to get started, and everything that they entail. I'm super excited about this, so here we go. First of all, let's start off with what is a dream quest. If you didn't see my last video about what to do if you happen to have a player cancel but you don't want to cancel your entire session, maybe give that a watch. But overall, a dream quest is a quest that happens in a dream. Fairly self-explanatory. Basically, all of your players, when they have a long rest, they go into a deep sleep and they have a collective dream. And in this dream, anything can happen because it's a dream, which is wonderful. You can throw giant monsters at them that you normally wouldn't use. You can introduce them to villains in different planes of existences. You can go through Avernus, or you can go through the elemental plane of air. You can do whatever you want, and it doesn't have any consequences on your current campaign because it's all a dream. And this is so exciting and interesting to me because it allows you to run basically any campaign that you want within your current campaign. You want to taste Barovia, you can have a taste of Barovia in there. You want to go through the Feywild, but you don't want to commit to that kind of a timeline, make it a dream quest. I think this is a really wonderfully versatile tool for DMs and something that I really think you should give a try. So, I'm creating this video basically to help you create your own dream quests. But if that sounds like way too much effort, then all you have to do is sign up for Patreon, because I have created an entire dream quest guide and I am expanding on it when I have the time. I really do love these. I'm coming up with quests for each one of the categories that I have. And if you are part of Patreon, you will get those as soon as they are available. This dream guide is really cool and I think very helpful. You can also just buy the dream quest guide on Patreon if you'd rather do that instead of subscribing. But right now it doesn't have any of the actual quests in it, just the guide. So keep that in mind. So yeah. Here's how you do it, or here's how I did it when I created my guide. Number one, you are going to start with the setting. Because it is a dream, wait, I didn't do any of the whys. Okay, because dreams, anything can happen. There's a huge range of things that can happen. It's kind of hard to know where to start. So where I like to start is with the setting of the dream. I picked 4 really cool settings and I created dreamscapes around those. So start with the setting. In my guide, I have Feywild, Domains of Dread, Otherworldly, and Tricksters. Those are my 4 categories for settings. So Feywild's pretty self-explanatory. We all know the Feywild. It's super cool, funky, Alice in Wonderland kind of vibes. Really fun. You got the Archfey, you got the fairy folk, all of that. That's a setting that most people are fairly familiar with, even if you haven't run anything in it. I would suggest picking up Wilds Beyond the Witchlight to give you some really great ideas for that. And as a matter of fact, you can kind of just steal most of that if you want to run that as a dream quest in parts. It works really, really well for that. I'm not going to say anything else if you don't know the plot and you want to be surprised, but there's someone who needs help. So they can be the ones initiating this dream, and your players can be entering the Feywild and assisting them through their dreams. This one is one of my absolute favorites because I am a fan of horror and gory stories, things like that. As you probably know from my Curse of Strahd DM binder, my extra side quests are a little dark. But it's really fun. I find it very interesting to be able to dive into that genre, especially if you've got a campaign that's mostly lighthearted and fun. Having these nightmarish dreamscapes from Domains of Dread is an excellent way to change up the pace a little bit. And you can include specifically things that your players are afraid of, and that's really, really fun. Now, most of you might be thinking Barovia because Domains of Dread, that's one of the most popular ones, but there's actually a lot of them, and I include some of them in my guide. One of them is a whole ocean world of pirates, which is incredibly fun, and I can't wait to run and create a quest around. But there are lots and lots of different types of Domains of Dread, and you can actually create your own. I have a video on how to do that, and I created my own Domain of Dread in my one-shot Little Dottie, which I personally love running. I've run it, I don't know, a lot at this point. Anytime I'm asked to run a game, that's pretty much the one that I go to, and I have so much fun with it. But you can create your own Domains of Dread to throw your players into to create this nightmarish realm. And it works really, really well. Really, really well. Especially if you have a villain that you want to use. Create a Domain of Dread around them and you've got it. You've got it made. The next category is otherworldly. This usually comes into play when you're thinking of like warlocks having an otherworldly patron, but really it's any domain that's not the material plane. This can be any of the elemental planes. This can be Avernus. This can be the Nine Hells. This can be even the astral plane. One of the ideas I have in my guide is using the astral plane with astral whales, which I don't know. I'm proud of that one. That one's kind of fun. But it's any otherworldly type of creature, and we'll get into why they might be contacting, but just keep in mind that's the setting that you're going for is a different plane of existence. Research a little bit on what that plane would look like, and that becomes your dream setting. And then lastly is the trickster. This is just... The setting is wild and wacky. Think Alice in Wonderland times 10. This is going to be your crazy mazes. This is going to be a world where everything is bouncy. This is going to be just the craziest things that you can think of. That is what a trickster god or person is going to use to manipulate and perhaps just create some fun in this world. It's usually not super harmful, but it is weird. Really weird. So if you like weird, this is the one that you're going to want to use for your setting. All right, so you picked your setting. You picked either Archfey, Domains of Dread, Otherworldly Patron, or Trickster. Pick one of those. Next, you're going to decide who is the one who is creating this dreamscape and pulling your players into it, and what is their purpose. I call this the Dream Master. There needs to be an entity who is creating this and has a purpose for what they are doing. I'm not going to give you all of the examples because those are in my guide and it seems kind of repetitive at this point, but a couple of examples. In a Domain of Dread, perhaps Strahd has come up with a new idea to break out of his prison, and it includes getting to the heart of the curse on the lands. And for that, he needs your players to relive his the events of his life. They have to relive it kind of through his eyes and get further and further into the heart of why he is there so he can figure out how to get out. Another one might be in the Feywilds, you have a hag that is trying to complete a very detailed ritual, which requires a lot of energy that dreams create, specifically fearful dreams. And your players are not allowed to escape or leave this dream until the ritual is complete. But your players can stop the hag if they get through her different levels of this dream fast enough. And then one final example might be for a trickster. Perhaps a trickster lesser god has been tasked with creating something new and exciting. They need a new and exciting story to present to the other gods, but they're fresh out of ideas. That's where your players come into play. They are going to compete in this game show-like event for the entertainment of the gods. So it doesn't really matter who the Dream Master is, what purpose they have, whether it's funny, whether it's dark, whether it has an actual effect in your world or not, doesn't matter. It just matters that you know who is controlling this dream and why they are doing it. Now, it's up to you if you reveal the Dream Master, if the Dream Master welcomes them in a big show and display, or if they have to try and figure it out as they go along. This Dream Quest can be one event, or it can be reoccurring, where every time they take a long rest, they get thrust into a new dreamscape for some reason. This can be multi-step, this can be one step. It's really up to you and what your Dream Master is trying to accomplish. One Fey creature might need your players to complete several tasks in order to set them free, but your players don't know that that's what they're doing. They just know that they're solving puzzles, and they can't quite figure out why they keep getting forced into this dream, into these puzzles to begin with, when in reality it's a trapped Fey creature that they are slowly unleashing. And you can have that creature show themselves, or you can have another Fey creature tell them what is happening and that this is not good and they need to try and prevent this, because this is what's going to happen if the creature is unleashed. Any of those are fine. None of those are fine. You can literally just have a trickster god who finds it really entertaining to put them in ridiculous situations, and that's it. And that's the end of the quest. It's up to you. That's what I love about Dream Quests. I love the versatility of them, that they really can encompass whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. They can be as simple as, oh my gosh, you're dreaming about an adult red dragon. Try and figure it out. You all die, and then you wake up. End of Dream Quest, because that's just fun. Or it can be a whole separate side plot to your campaign, or the main plot if you want. I mean, this is great. Yeah, sorry, just fangirling about my own idea over here, like a loser. All right, so now you have picked a setting, and you have picked a Dream Master and their purpose. The very last thing you need to do is you need to create that dreamscape based on those two things. And what I did was I created dream effects. So we all know that things don't work exactly the way that we think they should in a dream. Sometimes we're more powerful, and sometimes we're weaker than what we think. Have you ever had the dream where you can fly? You know you can fly, but for some reason you can't fly, and it's just really, really frustrating. So I basically took those tropes and those ideas from dreams, and I created spell effects, weapon effects, and even armor effects based on those different dream tropes. Now, these don't happen every time, because just like in a dream, sometimes things are normal until they're not. So you basically, every time you cast a spell, every time you make an attack, every time you try and do something, you roll to see if a dream effect happens. And I think this is a really fair way to do this. It also adds some randomness to the dream. Some of the effects of the dream are long-lasting. They last throughout the rest of the dream, and some of them only last for that instance. Some of them make you more powerful. Some of them make you weaker. They're not always negative. Sometimes they're really positive. And again, if you want my list of spell effects and just the overall dream effect charts, you can buy that over on Patreon, or sign up on Patreon and get access to that. But what you basically want to do is you want to think, all right, in this world, in this setting, what kind of weird and wacky dream thing would happen if my players did this? And you can even make this specific to them, especially if they have some kind of fear and they're in a nightmare, and you specifically bring in their fear. Maybe they need to roll against being afraid every time. Or maybe every time they are afraid, this effect happens to them. Again, if you want an easy way to do that, I did that already, but this can be super fun. And even if you use my chart, I highly suggest you come up with your own ideas for your own players as well. Because again, it's a dream. Anything can happen, and it's crazy. One of my favorite ones is actually when players die. Because when players die in a dream quest, I don't want them to just wake up and then everybody else is still in the dream. That's kind of lame. I don't think the Dream Master would allow that. So instead, they wake up, they are still in the dream, but they have one of the death effects. And one of those I have is that a duck starts following them around, criticizing them on everything from their armor choice to what they do. Every time they fail something, the duck mocks them relentlessly. But nobody else can see or hear the duck. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. It can just be wacky, weird stuff that happens. So give it a go. Let your creativity go wild because, again, there is no consequence to this. This is just pure fun at its very base material. So have fun with it. Let your wildest dreams come true. And make sure that you tell me about them in the comments down below, because there is nothing I would love more than this to be a great resource for other DMs who want to run dream quests. Tell us your ideas, tell us your experiences, give us your dream effects, all of them. I want to see them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for being a supportive community who helps each other, even if it's something like that, because believe me, they do help. I've gotten great ideas from the comments of these videos, so keep it up. You're doing great work. If you want to support the channel, I'm over on Patreon. That really helps. Subscribe to this video if you don't mind, or you can check out my merch in my shop. I made all the designs myself, so if you hate them, don't tell me. If you like them, maybe buy something, though. That would help. And until next time, my friends, may your game have advantage. It's Halfling Hannah here, signing out.